when I went to my first lecture, oh my God, that was when it dawned on me that, Hassan, there's no English that is coming to save you. You're going to be studying your program in the Russian language because, hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Hassan Kyugo, a chemical engineering graduate from Russia. In this video, I'm going to be asking the question, can you really learn in Russian as a foreign student? As you know, this is my experience. I went to Russia on scholarship and I studied in Russia in the Russian language. And anytime I tell someone that I studied in the Russian language, they're like, what? Engineering for that matter, like how is it possible? They are like, I can't do it. So this is what we are going to answer in this video. So like I mentioned, I went there on scholarship. So while I was in Nigeria, I didn't know that when I go to Russia, I'll be studying in the Russian language. Yes, till I got there. And then I overheard two people talking. One was telling the other that, yes, you guys will be studying the Russian language. That was when I just chipped into their conversation uninvited. I was like, please just tell me that is not true. And they actually confirmed it to me that yes, we'll be studying the Russian language. I don't know why, but I didn't really believe it at that time. Still at the back of my mind, I was like, maybe one day, maybe it's just the beginning, the foundation year that we'll be going into. Maybe it's just the foundation year that we'll be studying in the Russian language. Then we'll be studying our main program in English. Well, that was not the case because once we arrived in Russia, we even arrived very late. In Russia, session starts September 1st. Most universities in Russia start their session September 1st. Guess when we arrived Russia? We arrived Russia March. So we're late for like 6 months. September, October, November, December, January, February. We arrived March. So you can imagine we are behind with 6 months. And we have 6 more months to begin our next session, to begin our main program. They put us in this foundation year. They call it foundation faculty. They call it Подготовительный факультет. That's preparatory faculty. There, we are supposed to spend 1 year, like I mentioned, but we spent only 6 months. That's March, April, May, June, July, August. So we studied Russian intensively in these 6 months. We were taught physics, chemistry, math in the Russian language. And then, of course, we have Russian classes. During our Russian classes, we learned the alphabet, we learned the language like very quickly. After 2 weeks of Russian classes, we then started doing the math, physics, and chemistry just to know how to, understand all these concepts in Russian. Like this is a simple topic maybe that you've done in Nigeria, but because it's in Russian language, there's an added layer of difficulty. So this is how we went through our foundation year. And the interesting thing is that they put us in a hostel where the hostel has 4 floors. The second and fourth floor were where our rooms were located, but the third floor were where our classes were located. So you don't have to go anywhere. You just wake up from sleep, go and take your bath, go downstairs, do your class, and go back to your room. You don't have to take a bus or anything. So I was now thinking about my choices because at this point, I can't go back to Nigeria after knowing that I'll be studying the Russian language. So I just had to make up my mind. I just had to lock in and try to be serious. I can even show you my Russian notebook. This is the book I used. This is my first Russian book. This is where we were taught the alphabet. As you can see, these are the alphabets in Russian. A, B, V, G, D. I don't even know. I don't know. So difficult at the beginning. We learned a lot of words. Man, a lot of stuff I hear. I just had to lock in, just to understand the language better. So after the foundation course, we were sent to the university, like direct, no break of 1 week or 2 weeks. No, we just went direct to the university because we finished our program around August 20-something, 26 or 28. And on 1st September, we were sent to the university. Because we arrived late, there wasn't any break for us because August is supposed to be a holiday. So 2018 was a really rough year for me, considering that, if you know, I was a student of Ahmadu Bello University Zaria before I went to Russia. So January, February, I was in school in ABU. Then March, I was called to Russia. And when we got to Russia, we started classes. So April, May, June, July, August, I was in class throughout. And then immediately after our program in August, 1st September, we were back in university to begin our bachelor's program properly. So that was when I entered first year. And we studied September, October, November, December. So I've studied like for 12 months straight with no break of more than 1 week. No break of more than 5 days even throughout the calendar year. So 2018 was really rough for me. So when we got to the university, when I went to my first lecture, oh my God, that was when it dawned on me that, Hassan, there's no English that is coming to save you. You're going to be studying your program in the Russian language, because the lecturers, they don't care that they have foreigners in their class. They just ramble on and on in their lectures in the Russian language, because there are a lot of Russians and very few foreigners. So it's up to you to like try to cope with the lecturer. So the beginning was very, very difficult. It's not as we were taught during our foundation course, because in our foundation course, they try to like pamper us. Okay, maybe he explains something we don't understand. We use Google Translate. He's waiting for us to like clarify it. Okay, you understand what I'm saying, right? We'll be like, oh no. Then we'll move forward. But in university, there is no room for that, especially in our lectures. So what really helped us, I would say, was the connection we started having with our Russian classmates, especially our class rep. Man, that girl is very special, because she helped us with everything from the first week that we got there. She helped us with notes, because I was trying to take notes as the lecturer was lecturing. It was pretty difficult for me. Anytime I start writing, I would just get caught off because I didn't even understand what he was saying. So after the lecture, we would go and meet her. She would give us her notes. And you know how women prepare their notes? Everything is neat. Diagrams check, handwriting check, all the information check. So we're having like first class notes from her. We didn't have any problem with that. Man, if you're learning in a foreign country in their language, try and find native speakers of the language. They are going to help you very well. So that is the tip. Find a friend that speaks Russian. It's going to help you go through your university experience. Our other classmates were really helpful. They were like encouraging us to speak with them. So, like I mentioned one time in my short video, there are 4 parts to learning a language: speaking, writing, and then reading and listening. So I learned very well from the foundation course how to read and how to listen. Like I started developing my listening, especially in the lectures I was going to. It was becoming easier for me. I could listen and understand. It was difficult for me to write the note, but I was understanding the lectures. Reading, I could read very well. Even in the beginning, I could read Russian text without translating a lot of words at the beginning. But the most difficult for me was writing and speaking. So our Russian classmates were encouraging us that we should speak with them. We should make the mistakes with them, because that is inevitable. So when you're learning a language, try and speak more with the native speakers. It's going to help you develop your language very quickly. Over time, I observed that I was really understanding my physics lectures. And the reason why this is of interest to me was because of the way our physics lecturer lectured us that time. You know how physics is, they talk about motion, energy and so on. When our lecturer comes for lectures, he doesn't dive deep into it like, okay, this is the formula for motion, this is the law of this, this is how you calculate it, and this is how the formula works, and this is the result. No! When you go for a physics lecture class, it's more like you're in a philosophy lecture. That's how our lecturer teaches physics. He's like, okay, today we are going to be talking about time. What is time? This great philosopher said that time is this and that. So when you think of it, time is not something that you can touch, that you can feel. But how did it begin? How is it going to end? Like, I was just a foreigner that just learned Russian for 6 weeks. And here I am in a physics lecture understanding what this man is saying. Like, that really pushed me forward. That really encouraged me. So over time, we're just getting better and better. The beginning was really challenging, but over time, it gets easier. So the answer to this question, I would say, is yes. Can you really learn in Russian as a foreign student? The answer is yes. So now let's go into the most important things that will make it a yes for you, because it's not easy, like I mentioned, but it gets easier as time goes. So the first tip is that if you're learning a language, make sure that your teacher teaches you the language in the language you're learning, not in your own language, no, in the language you're trying to learn. So in my experience, we were taught Russian in the Russian language. Our Russian teachers didn't know English at all. So they taught us Russian with Russian. You understand? While us, we didn't know Russian, we just knew English. So the beginning was really tough. Like our teacher would look at us and be like, это карандаш, это тетрадь, да, тетрадь. Это планшет. Понимаете, да? Это планшет. Можете использовать, смотреть фильм. Это человек, это голова. That was how we learned Russian. Like, it was really difficult. They had some old dictionaries that they were giving us that were not helping us. So we used a lot of Google Translate. Whenever we reach a point where we don't understand each other, she will write it on the board and then we'll check Google Translate. We'll be like, like we understand. That was how we're doing this. The beginning was really tough, but over time, we got over it. If I can remember, around roughly after 4 months during our foundation year, we were able to like express ourselves. Меня зовут Kigo Hassan. Я из Нигерии. Yeah, Stolica, Nigeria, Abuja. Like that was, we were able to do all these things, and we were able to go to the magazine. That's like the shop. You go, you buy something, you tell them this is what you want, this is how much you spent, this is your change. Like after 4 months, we could do those sort of things. We could have light conversations with people. Привет, как дела? Хорошо, тебе как? Ну, спасибо. All these simple interactions, we were able to do them after 4 months. So that is one. Make sure you learn the language in the target language. Make sure your teacher speaks the target language to you. In that way, to be faster for you. Had it been we were learning Russian in English, I don't think we'll be able to learn it in 6 months for us to even go to university and study with the language. So that's the first tip. The next is that it's very important, I'm emphasizing this, that you have Russian friends. So one thing I noticed is that a lot of the people that could speak very good Russian in our midst as foreigners were people that hang around with Russians a lot. Like there's one guy, I don't want to mention his name, but he was really good to the extent that he even developed their accent because he has a lot of Russian friends. He goes out with them all the time from school, you know, to go play sports, to go swimming and all those kind of stuff. So people that don't associate themselves with Russians, they don't end up nailing the language. They still speak the language using their own accent instead of trying to develop the accent, the intonation of the articulation, we can even say, of the Russian language. So it's very important you get friends that, let's say you're studying French, make sure you get French people. Make sure you have people that speak French natively to help you in your pursuit. In this way, it's going to be very easy for you to pick up the language and even learn in the language as a foreign student. The next one is that learning in Russian as a foreign student in Russia is just the way of you becoming fluent in a second language for free. There are some people that went to Russia and they went to English schools, meaning universities that the language of instruction is English. A lot of them, they know Russian, but compared to, you know, us that went to Russian universities that speak only Russian, you find out that there is a huge difference in our knowledge of the Russian language. It's not like they don't know Russian language, but they don't know it enough as we do. They are not as fluent as we are. So that is a very good advantage that you have over them. Like, for example, if you're looking for jobs, Russians like employing people that know Russian very well. So I believe it would be easier for you if you know Russian to get more jobs than people that don't know Russian. So would I recommend you go to a Russian university and study in the Russian language? Yes, I highly recommend it. There are a lot of advantages to it, like I mentioned. And if you were to ask me, will you try this again? I would say yes, absolutely. If I was to come back to Russia and do this again, I would do it. Even if it is for me to go to another country right now, let's say to China, I noticed that there are a lot of postgraduate opportunities to study in China in Chinese. Like, I wouldn't say no to that. Or going to France, like, all options are on the table. I would do it again. So if you're going to Russia and you're wondering what the cost of living is, check out this video where I talked about the cost of living in Russia as a student. Thank you very much for watching. Signing off now. See you on the next one.